tickets that Arby's does not have the meats.
Probably.
We live, man. Arby's, we have the bad meats. Sharing to Kitchen 85 show. Broadcasting live from Vegas. Is it not? Yeah, it's live. James Mack checking in. Looking like Tupac, but that's James Mack.
I know. Ain't nobody.
And Miss Mack is back there talking junk. I got a PlayStation in my ear. I got an air conditioning unit in my other ear. Weldon Ford in the house. Big Weldon. We gotta get Weldon.
I saw Weldon today, man. Good to see you. You know, Weldon always well dressed, man.
Well dressed. Weldon Ford.
Taylor
made.
Get Weldon Taylor.
Told Donnie Edwards I'm coming to take your job. I say that's a good introduction. That's how you introduce yourself to the all Pac 10 linebacker. I'm coming to take your job.
That's what Weldon did.
Oh, Weldon.
I see you, Weldon.
Weldon came on the scene. Art Johnson. What it is.
What up, Art?
Elaine in the house.
Coach of the general. Elaine.
Weldon Ford. His sack master was Trevor Turner, and Weldon was sack daddy. What was it? They had the sack nicknames. Pocket sack.
Scissor Woo was there, as a matter of fact. Scissor Woo was there.
Everything is good. Sound is right. We gotta give James Mack his production credits, man. He been on it. Whenever I'm echoey, don't sound right, you the first one to let me know. Our boy Anthony Carter is on billboards for Peloton. Watch out. Major flex.
Yep.
Happening. Worldwide flex. Let me borrow $20. You balling like that. Trevor was there. I saw the pictures, man. I wish I was there. I'm in Vegas at the Bigfoot tournament in the super spreader event of the year. Elaine says inquiring minds want to know why you're in Facebook jail. Who's in Facebook jail?
I was in Facebook jail for 24 hours, AC.
What you say, brother?
It was about NIL. Did you read my comment about NIL in Lonnie's group?
No, I did not.
And
they put you in.
Yep. Because I said that there was. I don't know if my wife want me to say it. So you know how you make the phrase, "There's a chink in the armor."
Oh yeah.
I said that, and then they got me on it.
Chink.
There's a chink. They took chink as being a racial slur. I'm like, but how is chink in the armor a racial slur? I was like, y'all have nobody at Facebook that's ever heard that.
How about?
Yeah, so I was.
How about if you said kink? Is kink better than chink? That's
what
what
you talking about. Black nappy hair, then.
Because that's what happened with the reporter that wrote the article on Jeremy Lin.
Mm-hmm.
He said chink, and it's kind of like, well, you know better. There are so many different words you could have used, and there's so many different phrases you could have used, but you used the one that was related to the subject matter and his Asian descent. So you get what you get, Jimmy Mack. You got the slap on the hand, just 24 hours. Don't let it happen no more.
But you know what, though? Like I told my wife, I've had way deeper conversations that could have offended a lot of people, and nothing.
Yeah. Weldon says he's gonna join the show. We're gonna get Weldon Cavorte, the artist formerly known as Andy Colbert, Kusanti Abdul Salam. We gotta get Skip Hicks on here, J Mo, Big O, Jameer Miller. Who else was on Facebook? That
Brent Brennan told me today that he wanted to be on the show.
Oh, Brent Brennan's gonna be a great guest.
Brent Brennan wants to be on the show.
BB's gonna be a great guest. We gotta get that going. We gotta have a big old round table, man. A big old round table and talk junk. Tell stories about Terry Donahue. Tell stories about just you and Larry Atkins passing kidney stones. That'll be a good show. Yo, AC from LA, Worldwide. He's now Mr. Worldwide. No longer is it Pitbull. It's AC from LA. He's Mr. Worldwide.
He can't be
Peloton.
no more LA.
We gotta get Coach Toomey on there. Coach Toomey. We gotta get Ramogi Huma on here. The NIL.
Yep.
The originator of this whole deal, saying we ain't playing for free. Man, just before we even get into it, man, you heard the defensive lineman from Georgia saying he's not gonna use his name, image, and likeness until he goes pro.
Yep. That's what I was saying. That's what I made the comment on, man. That's how I got busted.
There's a little dissension in the ranks. Is that an easier way of saying that? There's a bump in the road. I won't say a blank in the armor.
Yeah.
What do you call a dent in the armor if you can't say the word?
Yeah, so that was it. That's what I got in trouble for, man. I got Donnie Harper, man. So
Donnie be on him as me. Well, Donnie he likes to see how far he can go. He's a habitual line stepper. He's the line stepper of all line steppers. So what? I mean, I didn't know what you said, but when I saw that he refused to, and it almost makes me think about what Hopkins said about if I have to take a vaccine, maybe I shouldn't play football.
Yeah.
You're being exploited to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
But how much are you willing to pay, or how much are you willing to compromise your pride and dignity? How much money will it take for you to exploit yourself? And I think the young man's, I didn't get to hear him say why he wouldn't use his name, image, and likeness, but it sounded like he was kind of like, I'm an amateur and I want to stay an amateur till I'm a professional.
Yeah, it was something like that along those lines. And a lot to do with like the history of it, how people like me and you didn't profit off of it, so he shouldn't either. You know, it was kind of that type of stuff like that. Like, you don't understand, we would have profited off of it if we could.
Man, I was selling my Reebok gear at the Reebok store. I was going to the Reebok store, turning my stuff in. If I could have made money, I would have. I'm like, that's Dr. King and them marched on Selma for us. So we played in Michigan and got beat. We played in Tennessee, so you didn't have to. All right, man. So let's get into it, man. NBA finals have come to an end. I was sad to see it come to an end, but I was happy for Giannis.
Greek freak.
The Greek freak. We got a lot on tap. NBA finals performances that we want to quickly go through. Top performances. I believe you wanted to go through individual performances, best matchups, single game performances, and flameouts.
Yes, sir.
My question to you was, remember when we used to love LeBron? Everybody loved LeBron when he was young. Like, this is the next best thing. And then all of a sudden he has the most hate on social media. He's the most hated player in the NBA. When are we going to see that same dynamic for Giannis? When are we going to see? It's already started. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's preposterous. Let's go with and then I would like for you to define for me what a super team is, because I've heard in a couple of groups we're both in, there's no such thing, and I'm like, I beg to differ. But I don't know what everyone's definition of a super team is, because in the 80s we saw a lot of teams that could be defined as a super team.
Super teams, yep.
But I think there is a little gray area of what a super team is defined as in 2021. Mm-hmm. And talking about the Hopkins tweet about the vaccination, I'm going to ask you, is it fair or not to make NFL players take a vaccine? And then we're going to debate, or not debate, just kind of critique Space Jam 1 versus Space Jam 2. What you like, what you didn't like. This is 1585 on a Friday night. This is our intro, man. Okay, we got some Tony Siracusa. First, the last word on college sports says, Was good to see Jamie Mack Weldon today at Terry Donahue's memorials. Didn't want to interrupt while you were all hanging with your boys. Oh man, Tony Siracusa, you're one of us, man. You should have came through.
Anytime, man.
You should have came through and just slap hands.
You can interrupt us at any time.
Slap hands.
We won't have to hear so many of the crazy stories.
So yeah,
those interruptions.
When we have the big Bruin reunion, we're gonna have Tony as our mediator, so we can get to the subject matter and stay on task. We need someone that's gonna play the referee. James Mack said the Vikings coach got fired for not getting vaccinated. Wow. Which coach? One of the assistant coach? Couldn't have been a head coach. Had to be an assistant, a GA or something. James Mack, research it. Let us know.
Quality control was the quality control guy that got
probably
fired?
the guy that scout team cards guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up these cards. Tony Siracusa, he's on board. He'll do it. All right, we got us a referee, man. Oh man, so NBA Finals comes to an end. Was that the most impressive performance you've seen in the closeout game? And if so, or if not, and if so, what are your top 5 finals performances?
As much as you want to be a prisoner in the moment and say that, the best closeout game I've ever seen was James Worthy's triple-double against the Detroit Pistons, 1988. So I will go with that's the best closeout game I've seen, which that comes in at number 5 on my list. James Worthy's triple-double in 1988 in Game 7. So it was impressive. And I do agree with Mike Stafford on this. His free throws make it impressive because, Giannis' kryptonite is that free throw line. But it's still not better than James Worthy's triple-double in 1988. So that's number 5 on my list. Number 4 on my list is Game 3. Dwayne Wade, even though it was in the closeout game, he changed the series that day. He went for 42 and 13 against the Dallas Mavericks. I was super impressed by what he did in that game because I thought the Mavericks were going to end up sweeping the Heat, and that 42 and 13 was absolutely amazing. And when I was watching the game, I was like, this dude is killing. I was like, that dude is amazing right now. Dwayne Wade he just took the game over 15 points in the fourth quarter. He was just dominant. So I really, let not me say I enjoyed that performance. I'm most definitely not a Heat fan, never been a Heat fan, but it was impressive. My number 3 is Jordan's 55 against the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
He went for 55 in the finals. His 55 points were so good and so dominating that Barkley had a triple-double that game, and his 55 overshadowed that.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 best performance, of course, is LeBron's Game 1, even though they lost that game to Golden State, 51-8-8. In regulation, basically. That dude balled out, and they lost. And then Magic's closeout Game 6 is my number 1 finals performance. 42-15, 7 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 block, played all 5 positions. My GOAT of GOATs, Magic Johnson. Irvin Magic Johnson. What you got, Kyle?
I don't have a thorough list, but I have a couple that you have not named. Those that you've named are right up there. But AI's Game 1, 2001 versus the unbeatable Lakers team.
Mm-hmm.
He played 52 to 53 minutes, and we all know the step over. And I'm a huge AI fan, so for me, the little guy got one versus the Monstars, basically, with Kobe and Shaq. And then going back a little further, Elgin Baylor dropped 61, dropped 22 rebounds by playing every minute, 48 minutes. So give Elgin Baylor his, along with the ones you've already mentioned. And I agree with Mike too. Those free throws that Giannis canned, 17. I couldn't do 17 and 19 like right now. And he did it in the finals with 12 seconds per free throw. So that was really, really impressive. Mike Staff says he agreed with Bob Worthy to steal the MVP from Magic and Cap. Yeah, super dope. That's how he earned that name, Big Game James. That's still one of the best names. I have it one of my top 20 best nicknames ever, even though it's pretty plain. Big Game James right there with Big Shot Bob for me. It's cool, man. Magic kills it because he was a rookie and a point guard playing center. Well, Magic Johnson goes down in the annals of greatest of all time. As far as especially having that clutch gene, Magic Johnson had it. Even with a nasty looking jumper, he still made buckets, man. All right, so we got single games. Now, what about finals performances as a collection of a series?
In the series. Final performance series. My number 5, Jordan against my Phoenix Suns back in the days. I was a big Phoenix Suns fan because they had Barkley and KJ and Marley. But Jordan opened up a can of whoop ass on them. 41 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, 6 assists per game, and 1 steal per game. I mean, he just dominated that series. Once again, he had the 55 points in the game. So Jordan's, that's number 5 for me. Number 4 is Giannis's performance just recently. 35 points, 13 boards, 5 assists, a block, and a steal per game. Then you have Shaq's that against Indiana, 38 points, 16 rebounds, 2 assists,
that's crazy.
1 steal, 2 blocks. Those are and shot over 60% from the field, which is absolutely crazy. You know, and he did influence to him. Then is Dwayne Wade's series performance against Dallas that year. 34 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, 2 steals and a block. That's absolutely crazy, man. That's when I personally thought at that moment that Dwayne Wade was the best player in the NBA just because of that finals. He dominated.
Yeah.
So much that I was like, that's a player in the NBA. And then LeBron's finals, the year they came back from 3-1 against Golden State. He led the finals in in the top 5 statistical categories: points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. He led the whole. I've never heard of that before. Maybe Wilt did it. I don't know. I'm not for sure. But for LeBron to do that at 6'8" against the Golden State Warriors, who was a dominant team that year, won 73 games. And for him to lead in all 5 stat categories, that's I don't think we'll ever see anybody do that again in NBA history. Yeah,
I mean, that's undeniably, and it's in the era of stat munching. So LeBron James and his skill set allows for that type of output. And again, will we see it again? There are a couple guys that might be able to creep up, but LeBron James was a once-in-a-lifetime talent. So I'm not surprised about that 2016 output. Now, what you did not mention was my guy, Hakeem Olajuwon, the Dream, in 95, averaging 32, 11 and 5 and 2 and 2, and grabbing that Jordan-less championship. But word on the street is that Jordan was afraid of Hakeem Olajuwon, so he'll take that. Stop the presses. Stop the presses. Mike Stafford said he agreed with every pick Mac made. Oh, my God. Somebody go play lottery. Somebody go play lottery. Go play lottery.
Let's pray on it.
It never.
Get to the lottery.
My buddy and me. Jerry West averaged 39 and 9, 7.5 assists. That was a good series in 69. We didn't get a chance to watch it, but it might be on YouTube. And of course, Jordan, 93 for me, 41 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 6.3 assists, almost 2 steals a game. Man, these stats, man. Tim Duncan, though. Did we give Tim Duncan his flowers? Tim Duncan his flowers, 99. He averaged 27, 14, and 3, basically, and 2.5 blocks with 53.7 field goal percentage. So we give Timmy his. There were a lot of performances. I mean, when you brought this down, like, man, look at these guys, man. Just piling it on.
Hard.
You know who I was interested to see didn't make any of these lists? The Mamba. The Mamba didn't make any of these lists because he had to deal with Shaq as his teammate. So, we're getting cut out. Did you go back? There you go, Mac. So I'm just like, yeah. So all my Mamba fans that put him in the GOAT conversation. This is where it gets tough to put the Mamba there when he had to play with Shaq, and Shaq would take over. Kobe, give me the ball. Kobe, if I don't get the ball next time, Kobe, it's gonna be a problem. Rest in peace, Mamba.
My honorable mention, I forgot for top finals performances was Bill Russell's Game 7, where he had 25 points and 32 rebounds. I forgot, that's honorable mention because I didn't see it. I can't throw it up in here, but just to read about it and hear about it was like that dude had 32 rebounds in the finals. That's absolutely crazy. In the closeout game at that, like that is absolutely crazy.
The league needs to change the logo from West to Kobe. Kobe, I think that was almost a real thing. I think it went away already.
I think the thing for that was to turn the MVP trophy at All-Star game to Kobe. I think a lot of people, it gained traction, but I think they're like, let's make a compromise. Let's make the All-Star trophy the Kobe Bryant trophy. So that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I don't think they're gonna change the logo, even though we would not mind it. I don't think that's gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Matchups, NBA Finals matchups for the ages. You keep talking about the Bulls and Suns. That has to be on the list. That has to be on there.
No, not on my list.
Not on your list?
I was a giant Suns fan. I have my team lose, and that make the list. But it was a good finals. My top finals performances: number 5, Rockets Knicks, 1994, 4-3 was what came in at number 5. That was a great series. John Starks 3 for 18 shooting, 0 for 11 from three-pointer, doomed the Knicks, but that was a good series. Cleveland Golden State 2016, Cleveland over Golden State 4-3. That was a great series. Miami over San Antonio.
That was a good one.
Ray Allen shot from the corner.
I got that one. Yep.
That was a great finals. That's one of the best finals I've ever seen. Number 2. Now a lot of people hate this finals because they said it was a boring finals, but I found it enjoyable. The Spurs over the Pistons in 2005. I really liked that finals. That was a good finals, well played finals. I really enjoyed that one. And then my number 1, Lakers defeating the Pistons, 1988.
88. Seven games. Big game, James.
Yep. So that's my best finals matchup I've ever seen. So I loved it.
I'm biased. I said the 4-4-4, but it was a terrible series. But the Sixers got them one for Doc. But no, man, the Cavaliers coming back from 3-1 versus Golden State, 2016. For me, the 84. Let me see. Was that? No, I want that. That wasn't me. I got the list of them, but I agree. The 88 Lakers over Pistons. It was a good one. I actually enjoyed the low-scoring Bulls Jazz series that went 6 games with Michael Jordan in the push-off, and I also enjoyed the Bulls versus the Suns. And I was a big Barkley fan, and I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. I'm like the big Titans going head-to-head. They went 6 games. The 7-game series are hard to not like because that's the ultimate, the last game that means everything, and that's kind of why I have the Cavs and the Warriors as high as I do. And then I also agree that Heat Spurs series in 2003 with LeBron James getting the MVP. Didn't he lose and get the MVP? Was that year? No, he won that. He won that. It was the year. Yeah. What year was that they? I think LeBron lost it, and he almost got the MVP. Like Jerry West that got the MVP one time when they lost the series.
That was the first Golden State series. I think that was the first when they gave it to Iguodala. I think that was that year.
And then in 1970, Willis Reed got it as a loser. Willis Reed got the MVP, but he lost the series. Was that what happened? Lakers won the series in 7, but Willis Reed got the MVP because he came out the tunnel.
AC from LA says only Jerry West got the finals title as a loser. So
Willis Reed got it.
No, Willis Reed, they won it when he came out the tunnel with the limp.
I thought he won that. They won game 1, but they didn't win the championship, did they?
The Knicks won it that year. They won it all.
I had the Lakers winning 4-3, but the finals MVP was Willis Reed in 1970.
The 7th season was the Knicks, right?
I don't know. Fact check somebody. I might have wrong facts. I just copy and pasted that one. 1970. I wasn't even born yet.
NBA champion.
1970 champion. 1970. All right. Mike Staff said Kobe never played well in the finals. He always forced it. Kobe had a game where Shaq got hurt and Kobe took over. When Shaq started getting old in 2002, look at the finals numbers. Kobe carried them except for rebounds. We ain't gonna debate Kobe's greatness, but I just know he up to the top 5 performances in the finals.
All right. Yeah, AC. It's Knicks won in the year.
Knicks won in the 70.
1970.
All right, and then the Lakers did not
They
win
won
that in
that
70. All right, and that's one of them ones that Wilt and Jerry West lost. Is that what that is?
Yep, that's the one that Will and Jerry West lost. Yeah.
Yeah, Wilt. I don't know how Wilt didn't win more championships. Miss Maxie, I like the thought of Kobe's likeness on the All-Star MVP trophy. I think everybody would agree on that one. As far as matchup, the Lakers versus Boston always. Even when Boston wins in that hot gym.
No, not
Ray.
Boston wins. Those are the
Best Celtics always. Best matchup, Celtics, Lakers. Bulls, Suns was good. Sonics and Bulls was better. Was it? But Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, was that a good one? I don't remember that one as much as I'm with the Suns.
In the 2 wins that the Sonics had in that series, they beat the brakes off the Bulls. And it made people think, okay, they're going to come back from being down 3-0 because it looked like they were able to handle it really well. But then they ended up heading back to Chicago, and Chicago closed it out. But they said Sean Kemp looked like he was about to be the MVP of that series. But, they got closed out in 6. So, it was a good series. But I don't know. Phoenix Bull series to me was very epic. If Paxson don't hit that shot, who knows what happens in Game 7?
Right.
But that was a very even final. Those teams went at it.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, NBA Finals flameouts, smokeouts,
Flameouts.
choked it off, smoked it off.
I hate to do this to Nick Anderson because I know how much that changed the trajectory of his career.
His life.
But he just flamed out in the finals. Game 1, he was having a good game before he missed those free throws. 22 points, 11 rebounds. Then after that, he closed the finals with 4 points and 7 rebounds. He just diminished, man. He those free throws killed him in his career. So Nick Anderson got my number 5. It should be number 1, but there was other things that Penny and Shaq could have did to offset those missed free throws. Number 4 is Dwayne Wade's Game 7. The year that they won it. 4 of 12. No, the year they lost. I'm sorry. The year they lost. This is Game 5. I'm sorry. 4 of 12 shooting, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. So Dwayne Wade did not bring his lunch pail that day. Kobe against the Pistons, Game 3 in that Detroit series, 4 of 13 shooting, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. And what made it so bad is that Rip Hamilton had a hell of a game, 31 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. There's no way that Rip Hamilton should ever outplay Kobe Bryant in game. And that's what made that Kobe flame out to me that much worse. Then LBJ, Game 4 against Dallas, 8 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, but he was 3 of 11 shooting. And then the number 1 flame out of all time, John Starks. I mentioned it earlier, 2 of 18 shooting, 0 for 11 from the 3-point line, 8 points, and that brought his total down to 17 points per game. In Game 6, the previous game, he had 27. He had 27 points, and then he shows up and goes 2 for 18 and 0 for 11, and the Knicks lose Game 7.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a tough, man. I could only think of the 3-1 collapse of the whole team, the Golden State Warriors, when they lost in 2016. And that you're the first team in the history of basketball to lose a 1-3 lead, a 3-1 lead. And LeBron James being the first to ever come back. He said, hold my beer, I'm going to break this curse. We're going to win, coming back and win 4 games in a row. They had a little help with Draymond Green being suspended for that Game 5, but still, huge collapse. And as far as I'm just remembering, it wasn't the NBA Finals, but I believe it was the Eastern Conference Finals when Patrick Ewing couldn't make a layup at the end of the game.
Oh, against the Pacers, yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a flame out, but I think that's a choke job. And then what was it, Charles Smith that couldn't make a layup that one time? It's a form of,
it's like 3 of them.
It's a form of the yips. It's a form of the yips, and you just can't make a bucket, and that's what your job is to make buckets. So yeah, everybody you mentioned, it's tough, man. And that Nick Anderson, man, I feel bad for him, man. To this day,
yep.
He's the Bill Buckner of basketball.
Oh man! Wow, he said the Bill Buckner of basketball.
that
Wow,
one,
that's tough.
the one era heard around the world, man. Bill Buckner never
Right.
lived that down. I mean, you figured the Boston Red Sox ain't won a championship in how long, and he dropped the ball between his legs, which you learned first day of baseball. Nick Anderson, who was a what? How many percentage of free throws was he? 85%, 87% free throw shooter, man. And it ain't like other people haven't missed free throws. Like LeBron's missed free throws, Michael Jordan's missed free throws. Everybody's missed a key free throw, but Nick Anderson, the free throws heard around the world. Live that down. I think he was a guest. Was he a guest on Martin? Pam was dating Nick Anderson for a minute. I said, "It's come to this,"
Possibility.
and he didn't even use it. They didn't even use his real name. They said this brother, this Asiatic brother. And it's like that's Nick Anderson. Oh man, yeah, that's tough, brother. All right, so you said, man, I said, hey, great topics, NBA Finals greats. Now I'm saying the great performance of the moment, Giannis, and that everybody's enamored with Giannis right now, and everything he's saying is great with the ego, the pride, and the humility. We heard a lot of the same sentiments about LeBron James when he was first on the scene, wowing the masses, charming the lay fan. But now LeBron James is the most hated player in the NBA by some people's estimation. You said people are already starting to hate Giannis. Why? Why do we eventually hate our great superstars?
Because they didn't do it the way some previous player did it. When we look at Giannis, and James Harden kind of started off, he has no skills. I mean, to be a guy that has no skills to do what he's done, two-time MVP, final MVP, a champion, and James Harden doesn't have that. It's just hate already. You know, that man is, he said it would be nice to be 6'11" and I can just run and dunk. But, you know, hey, man, some people got that gift. That doesn't make everybody good. Kwame Brown was bigger. Couldn't do that. You know, Sean Bradley was 7'6", couldn't do that. So, I mean, the hate is already starting. I mean, I watched Skip Bayless just talk bad about Giannis, how he doesn't like Giannis's game, and how Giannis is bad. It's kind of bad for basketball because even though his 50-point performance is great, it didn't look like how Michael Jordan did it. And I'm just like, man, he's not Michael Jordan. Giannis will never be Michael Jordan. He doesn't have that type of game. Giannis is 6'11", which you will want your 6'11" dude to do, who's super athletic, be in the paint. Nobody said Sean Kemp had to shoot threes. Nobody said Sean Kemp had to hit jumpers. You know, Sean Kemp was running and dunking, and people was loving it, the Rain Man. So it's already starting to be that hate out there. And I think what happens is we criticize a player until he wins, and then when he wins, you go, well, he didn't do it the way it should be done. This is how it should be done. And it's just ridiculous on how it is. You know, I mean, Giannis has holes in his game, but obviously it doesn't hurt his team, and it doesn't hurt how good he is. So it's just really it's really crazy because he's a very likable young man, very humble. You know, he does. I mean, the mean mugs are always funny when he dunks, and that's always. I think that's comedy, but you know, he don't talk trash about people. And you know, except for that one time with James Harden when he's picking the All-Star game, said I want a guard that can pass. But you know,
is he lying?
You gotta laugh.
Is he?
You gotta laugh. James Harden has led the league in assists before, so James Harden passes, but you know, it happens.
But he was seeing James Harden dribble that ball for 10 seconds, and he only passes it in desperation and alley-oops. Mike says Giannis haters are whack. Harden was only retaliating against Giannis for throwing that shade at the All-Star draft. And Miss Mac throwing my godfather Dennis Johnson under the bus for 78, 0 for 14. Yeah, you gonna speak ill of the dead? That's my godfather. Come on, Miss Mac, you cold-blooded, boy. Cold-blooded. Oh, she a tough one.
Son, DJ looked like Gregory Hines, so you know. You can't be mad about that.
But as far as the hate is concerned, why is it that, I mean, even like the likable Steph Curry has haters, and Giannis,
I'm one of them.
You hate Steph Curry? Now people
only because he played for the Warriors, man. I love everything about him in his game.
That's understandable.
The Warriors.
That's understandable. He plays for the wrong team, but
yep.
The Curry hate It's not like LeBron. LeBron. Did we start hating LeBron when he went to Miami and how he went to Miami? Is that was the start of it? Because he's like took his talents down. Like we wanted him to stay in Cleveland and win it the old-fashioned way. Like if Giannis did it the right way, people still have a problem with how he did it. Just running and jumping. That's not fair. He ran and jumped and dunked. That's not fair. And he got calls. He made free throws. What do you not like about Giannis? Because he's laughing at Chick-fil-A ordering a 50-piece?
Exactly.
I just know that people turn so quickly on, like they turn him into the bad guy if you are tired of seeing them win. We're tired of seeing Giannis do this over and over again. Now it's time for someone to dethrone him. Matter of fact, we hate him. He has no bag. How can he be the champ? He's not the best player in the world, because that's going to be the next argument. Is he the best player in the world? I'm like, LeBron and KD are still the best players in the world. But Giannis is the champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Giannis doesn't have certain things in his game that would cause him to be undeniably the best player in the world. So, it's not hate, it's critique. But some people are going to begin to hate him for no apparent reason. The same way they hate LeBron for no apparent reason. Now, which is a segue to the super argument. Is that another reason why LeBron is not universally appreciated and liked? Because they keep saying he started it, but he did not start the idea of teaming up with people you can win with. But the idea of teaming up with other super max players, people would rather you stay where you are and tough it out, like Dame Lillard and Giannis and Dirk. So what exactly is a super team?
Man, I mean, I'm gonna just go by what I think, how the world defines it. A super team is anything where the players come together and put together their own team for the embetterment of getting a ring or for production. We've seen GMs do it all the time. When we, like you said, in the 80s, you had nothing but super teams. Any team that won a championship in the 80s was a super team. When you look at the 85 Celtics, they had 6 Hall of Famers on that team. DJ, then they had the best front line ever, and you add Bill Walton. That's ridiculous, man. The team was ridiculous. The Lakers had a bunch of things, but when the GM is doing it, that's fine. But when the players go, I'm a free agent. Let me go over here, man. You know what? I'm gonna play with Cobb. You know what I'm saying? I think me and Cobbs can win, man. That's my guy. I think we can win together. I want me and my boy to get a ring together. That's when we have the problem. We have the problem when the players are taking their own destinies in their own hands and putting together their teams. They rather see the GMs do it. A lot of times the GMs don't do it. For like in context of LeBron going to Miami, he kept asking the owner, man, get me some players, get me some guys. We can't win like this when we get to the playoffs because teams are going to focus on me and these other guys don't show up, not going to play. So after a while, he just goes, I'm going to go to Miami. I'm going to get D-Wade. They're going to throw Bosh in here. Then I can compete with the Spurs. Remember when the Spurs swept them, it was LeBron versus Manu, Tony Parker, Duncan, and whoever else the Spurs had. So, super teams to me is any team that, in my personal opinion, any team that has multiple really good to great players on a team that's getting it done. That's just how I see it. But in the definition of what we're doing today is if players are putting the team together. If the GM is putting the team together, it's fine. But when you got the players doing it, now everybody hates. I'd rather see the players do it than the GMs. I personally do it. I would. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, Mike Stafford says a super team is a team where there's 3 or more all-stars put together by the players, not the organization. When you create a team of proven all-stars, when you home grow your team, it's considered a super team. It is not considered a super team. So like the Lakers and Celtics of the 80s, loaded. Brought in Bob McAdoo, MVP. And,
Hall of Famer.
In the Celtics, everybody in this started 5 basically, except for Ainge. Those weren't super teams because they did it through the draft, right? They brought over Bill Walton, MVP. He was injured, but the idea was what we're seeing with the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets orchestrated some of the shadiest, shiftiest teaming up we've seen in a while, bodysuits and all. Kyrie disappearing from the organization for 2 weeks. Them making the rumor that he would retire from basketball, so let's get James Harden. And all of a sudden you have the big three. LeBron's big three, orchestrated by, hey, LeBron, hey, Bosh, let's go down to Miami and help D-Wade win another championship. Matter of fact, let's win 5, let's win 6, let's win 7. So it is what we deem as the players putting it together. But for me, it's 3 Supermax players that orchestrate their own teaming up. Now, do we consider the Lakers with Mailman and Gary Payton a super team? Free agents that came.
They were old by then, though.
But they came to win a chip. It just didn't happen.
Yep.
Let's see. Someone said the Bucks. The Bucks are not a super team. They brought over Holiday. Middleton is an all-star. I wouldn't say he's a superstar.
No, not a superstar at all. Chris Middleton is just a better Michael Redd.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I'm trying to think of teams that we've seen recently. Like, would the OKC Thunder with 3 future MVPs on the team? You can't consider that a super team because it was organically put together. But if you look back, you had 3 max players.
Yep.
So had they stayed together, you might have had Showtime. You might have had something of a dynasty if they could have made that work. I mean, the idea that there's no such thing, is that a valid estimation, that there's no such thing? It's all something that we made up? Because teams do it all the time, and when players do it, it's different.
Yeah, I mean, teams do it all the time. I mean, when you look at all the champions of the NBA, you can't tell me one team that wasn't with the best talent. I mean, the closest that would be the Detroit Pistons that beat the Lakers. They wasn't the better talented team than the Lakers, but you got to think of the players that they had: Billups, Prince, Hamilton, both Wallaces. That's a heck of a team. That was a heck of a team. And Eldon Campbell was coming off the bench giving buckets. So that was a good team, but nobody would ever call them a super team. They were pretty much organically put together. Well, Chauncey Billups was on his 3rd team, I think, by the time he got to Detroit. Rip Hamilton was on his 2nd or 3rd team. Tayshaun Prince barely played at first until he gave Tracy McGrady a hard time in the first round of the playoffs. And then they were like, oh, we got to play this guy. Both Wallaces, I mean, Rasheed had bounced around Washington to Portland. Then he was in Detroit. And Ben Wallace was everywhere. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that. We've always had super teams. It's just that I think the super team thing is brought up because of LeBron. That's what it was, that he had to team up and go down there and play with his good friend and bring Bosh along. That's when I first started hearing that phrase, this is a super team. Because, like you said, when Malone and Peyton joined the Lakers, nobody batted an eyelash. Nobody had nothing to say. So I just really think that it was more so to diminish LeBron's legacy. And that's just my opinion. It ain't a fact. I just think it was done to diminish LeBron's legacy once he started winning.
The Boston Big Three, the Heatles,
yep.
The Golden State Warriors with KD, and now the Brooklyn Nets. If the Nets don't win a championship with these guys, can we say they're a super team? Doesn't a super team have to get a chip?
No, I think it's just the attempt. If you attempt to do it, I think that you try to create a super team. I don't see Brooklyn doing it because we're talking about guys who are not young anymore. If those guys were younger, I can see it, but those guys are not young anymore. They got miles on their legs, so I don't see them doing it. I thought Brooklyn had a better chance before they got rid of LeVert and the big guy, the center Allen. I thought they had a better chance of winning it with those guys than they did with bringing in James Harden. Because with Allen, you had your rim protector. Giannis can't do all of that because Allen's a hell of a defensive player. And LeVert was that guy who can get buckets, and he played great defense on the wings. Now you substitute that guy with James Harden, who doesn't play great defense. That hurts you in the long run, and then Harden ended up getting hurt because I just think that was karma, man. You vouch for this coach in Houston, and then you leave him. And I just think that was karma. I think the basketball gods were like, nope, we're not gonna let you win. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna present this team with some injuries because that was just terrible. So
Well,
yeah.
I told y'all tender love was spreading. Tender love was spreading to Brooklyn. Because if you come into camp, what Charles Barkley said, you just can't show up and play basketball.
Yeah.
Ernie, you just can't show up and play basketball. James Harden is 25 pounds overweight. Kyrie just quit basketball for a month and came back. KD coming off Achilles. Even though KD played it out of his mind at the end, it was still too much. Mike Staff said 2012. He think it was 2012. Dwight and Nash were supposed to be a super team as well, but Nash was done, and Kobe was 2 years from retirement. Yeah, I didn't think that was a super team at all because it was old Dwight too, old happy Dwight. It wasn't hungry Dwight.
It was old happy Dwight, but then Kobe also just bullied Dwight around, and you know that's not gonna
quit smiling.
Right.
Quit smiling all the time.
He's softer than toilet paper, so you can't say nothing to him.
Yeah, he's soft. Elaine says super team started with the thriving with KD and the Warriors. I know for a fact that I did not like KD as much as I did when he went to Golden State. I like KD on OKC. I did not like his move, which made me not like him. I wasn't that mad at LeBron going to Miami.
I wasn't mad at all.
I'm mad at Harden going to the Brooklyn. I think Harden should have gave Houston one more shot with John Wall. But you know, again, that just goes back to what kind of player are you? Do you want to play with good players that you have a better chance to win, or you want to just beat people that think you can't win? I'm the guy that keeps the sorry team in pickup and see if we can't beat the best team. Everybody's wired differently, but when you start hating people, like, why does Kobe have so much hate? Kobe never left the Lakers, but he was trying to get some help. But Kobe had more haters than anybody I know.
I don't think people hate Kobe per se unless you kind of get his personality. I think it's more so his fans. Kobe fans, you would think that Kobe slayed all the dragons that he faced. And I think it's just I get it, you love a player, and when that person isn't perfect and the people have something to say, the Kobe fans will defend him. They're like the Bay High. They'll jump on you, man. Kobe fans are they're
the Bay.
You gotta be careful when you tread in that water. And since he's such a beloved figure in LA, especially in LA, that you gotta be careful with that.
Yeah. Oh, Miss Matt calling Dwight a BAN again. So moving on, man. Ronnie Sasha in the house. He said after LeBron, players creating super teams in their prime versus Malone and Payton, who were 17 years in. It doesn't look fair. Like right now, the Nets are slated to win the championship next year. Nets, Lakers. And if the Lakers get Damian Lillard, super team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get me a Lakers 0 jersey and call it a day.
Get an 80 jersey and put Tender Love on the back.
Tender Love. He gonna be like, yo, what's up with that? All right, man, we gotta keep it moving. I got these family members in my hotel room looking at me crazy. See, you said 10 o'clock. We getting there. All right, so real quick, man. NFL vaccine policy. Your team causes a forfeit and you can't reschedule week 18. You will lose the game. You will suffer the consequences if your team is the one that does not have the vaccinated player or staff members. Is it fair that the NFL is mandating, making it absolutely necessary? You must have this vaccine.
I think it's fair because you got to remember these people are going to be traveling from city to city. They're going to be interacting with people in airports, airplanes. And no telling what they're doing in their daily lives when they're not at the practice facility. So they could easily transmit it and start a whole nother outbreak. So I think the policy is fair. I get it. People have the right to not take the vaccine. But when you have the ability to spread these germs, this disease, this virus, there has to be something. You have to be held accountable for it, because I can't get the virus, then I play a game, and next thing you know, I test positive, then I just affected basically my teammates and the whole nother team, and then what? I don't get nothing for that. There's a vaccine that's available. You want to play this sport, get vaccinated, so you won't start another big massive outbreak. I mean, you can see the numbers are already going up already, where people are already going out and about, and people are lying about being vaccinated and stuff like that. So no, this is a good thing. I think it's fair.
All right, so him saying, I'm thinking about walking away from the NFL.
He has that right.
It's come to that as far as the exploitation angle. And then if I have to do this, then this is where I draw my line. I'll risk my life for $20 million a year, but I'm not taking no vaccine. This is where I walk away from all this money. It's crazy, but this is what it sounds like, and he's not the only one. It's a fair policy, man. We've been taking tuberculosis tests since I've been in education, and that's just them putting it in your arm and see if you can beat it. And we've been taking booster shots since we were young. You can't go to school without a booster shot. What's the booster shot? Vaccines for what? Yellow fever, malaria, chickenpox, measles. So it's and I know the super woke ain't trying to take no vaccine, but this is a protein-based vaccine that will help you defeat a virus if you were to get it. It's not a panacea, it's not a cure, it is a defense mechanism. So if you want to play football, this is what it is. I think it's, I don't know, man. It's fair. But you still, I don't know if you still, I guess you're right, though, as far as it shouldn't be on the player to spread. But I don't know if that's the thing, though, because the vaccine is not going to keep you from getting it. Even if you get vaccinated, you can still spread it.
Yeah.
The vaccine is going to help you from dying from it. So I think that's kind of where it's kind of iffy for me, is that me having a vaccine is not going to stop me from carrying whatever I have. It's just going to keep me from dying from the disease. And that's what my understanding is from the doctors I've talked to, is that it helps you beat the disease. It does not keep you from getting it. So the vaccine is not the thing here. It's the being careful of not spreading your germs. And that's kind of where I think that's where DeAndre's coming from. Don't force me to do nothing.
I hear him, but at the same time, man, just be responsible, man. Be responsible. And then you know how people are. Oh, DeAndre Hopkins got it. Let me go get vaccinated. That's my favorite player.
Yeah. Brendan in the house. What up, BB? Tony Siracusa says peer pressure works better than the new NFL mandate. That's what this is, because one player gets others sick, is costing them money. They got to get somebody out front that everybody respects. Otherwise, it's going to continue to be, I'm good. Also, they be all over each other when they playing. Miss Max said all them big muscular men's all tackling each other, sweaty and stuff. Miss Elaine says it's fair because it's too much money involved. Plus, remember how many games were scrapped last season. It was a hot mess. It was a mess. Rodney, where I'm going? Oh, I got these updates. Rodney says it's not fair when you can still test positive with the vaccine. That's where it's really gray, because it's not like it's going to stop you from getting it. It's just going to help you beat it. Mike Staff says WNBA is 99% vaccinated. The NFL cost the league mad dollars last season. Now the fans are back. They have to take precautions. Plus, each NFL team have 53 players active at a time. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Tony Siracusa said, then walk. The NFL survived before you and will after you. And that's kind of like, that's your right. You got tons of money in the bank. If this is the deal that breaks your back, because I mean, shoot, we had to take. What was the test we had to take? What's the test where they violate you with the finger?
Oh, the
The
prostate
prostate
cancer.
cancer. It's like you did that, but you're not going to take a vaccine. it's, it's your prerogative, man. It's a
Yeah.
liability issue, and Mike says, mind you, they are making them take the vaccine. They are saying if your team has an outbreak, it's led back to a player who wasn't vaccinated, then you forfeit. Yeah, it's the NFL is all for vaccinations because they lost so much money last year, and they're probably getting paid too. They get a little paid on these syringes, I guess. They get a little money, a little cut. Colleges are mandating the vaccine before you can be back on campus. The NFL millionaires can suck it up. Yeah, and college players and their NILs. Don't you say the phrase, Mac? You're gonna be on Facebook jail again. It's no different.
Sure.
It is no different that on the NCAA allowing student athletes to sit out the season. It's their prerogative. It really is. If you got money in the bank like that, retire. Why you retire? Daggone vaccine, man. I'm good. These fools put all types of stuff in and on their bodies for years that they do not know what's in it, and now people want to act. Stop it, says Miss Mac. Stop it.
She's right.
That's right. Having vaccine plus added to protocols, I think you lessen the potential of spreading it, says Elaine. And how can you know exactly who's spreading it if several players test positive? You can't. All you can do, like Elaine said, is lessen. The Wazoo coach Nick Rolovich refusing to get the vaccine, thus cannot be a Pac-12 media day.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not getting it for religious beliefs, something like that. Yeah. All right, man. Well, we'll see how this plays out. DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best NFL receivers in the game today, is debating whether or not playing this year will playing forever. This might be it. You might just say forget it at this point. I'm good. Would be unfortunate. He's one of my favorite players, but he decided not to take the vaccine. All right, man. Rounding things out. We are at 10 o'clock, so we're gonna wrap this thing up. Space Jam 1 versus Space Jam 2. All right. You had a nice review of Space Jam 2, New Legacy, and you said you wish they named it something else.
They wish they would have named it something else. I mean, because it's not in space. I mean, I guess in cyberspace. Yeah, but it's not in space. Two different movies. They're both kid movies. I mean, I remember the very first Space Jam when it came out. I took my niece. I don't know if you remember. I used to have my niece around all the time at UCLA. She was like 2-3 years old. I would take her to class with me and stuff like that, trying to get her used to seeing college. And I took her to see Space Jam. She came to school with me, went to class. Right after that, we went to go see Space Jam, and she loved it. And that's the only thing I cared about. Did my niece love it? My kids watched Space Jam, and they loved it. That's all that mattered. I mean, two different types of movie. Michael Jordan was saving the planet in one. LeBron is saving his son and his family dynamic in the other. Both, I mean, they're both good movies. I mean, I recommend if you got kids, let them watch it. I mean, as an adult, if you're sitting here playing Cisco and Ebert and they're like, "Oh, that sucks," two thumbs down, you're missing it, man. You're missing a point. It's about, the first Space Jam, once again, Michael Jordan saving the planet and proving that he still has it, going up against these NBA monsters, Larry Johnson, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Muggsy Bogues, while LeBron is facing Tender Love, Dame Lillard, Cheney, Diana Taurasi. I mean, it was good, man. Like you said, the editing and the graphics and all that stuff was absolutely great. So, I mean, it's a good movie. I mean, I will disagree with your wife about Don Cheadle. I think he did an awesome job. But other than that, man, it's just a kids movie, man. And I like them both. I don't have no criticism about them because they're just kid movies. I mean, we watch worse. We have to watch Pepe Le Pew for years. Be a terrible person, and they fed that to us. So I mean, this is to me, they both were good movies, man. I give them 2 thumbs up, both movies.
Helmsley Lane, we gotta get a patent on that Tender Love. He done made it to the big screen. I like them both. I think I like Space Jam 1 more because I was a big Michael Jordan fan. I'm a LeBron James fan too, so I appreciate the movie. but I wasn't giddy about it. I was looking for production value, and I got it from Space Jam 2. It's not Space Jam 2. It's called Space Jam: A New Legacy. I'm sorry, but for us, Space Jam 2. They didn't let us down with They didn't cut corners. They spent a lot of money making Space Jam 2. Now I'm looking back at Space Jam 1. It felt like watching Clash of the Titans. Remember they had that bad font, and then Medusa snakes were real cheesy and clay looking. And if you go back and watch it, it was not as impressive as you thought it was as a kid. It kind of felt that way when I went back and watched Space Jam 1 last week. I fell asleep at the end, but I kind of enjoyed it that he was sorry in baseball. And LeBron's take on that was you keep changing teams, and it played enough dad jokes, enough cameos, enough references for me to be entertained just a little bit. And they both had those moments of I was glad they did certain things. Again, the best and worst part of Space Jam 2 for me was Michael Jordan not being Michael Jordan. It was Michael B. Jordan. That was the worst part of the movie for me.
That was so funny.
When I heard that Bulbs music, man, it said bam, 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 bam. I'm like, oh snap, they're gonna get MJ to show up. And it was Michael B. Jordan. It was Killmonger. I was like, oh. But
they say, so what? Michael A. Jordan wasn't available.
Michael A. Jordan wasn't available.
Oh my God! No wonder my son looked that part.
Any of these kid movies, just let it be, man. And someone said the reason why you don't like the movie is because you're 35 years old. And I was kind of like, that's it. You looking at this movie as if it's made for you. It's a kid movie. It's why they made it again. It was cheesy when Michael Jordan did it, and it's cheesy when LeBron did it. It's not for you. It's for kids. And there's plenty jokes in there. I enjoyed them both. And, for those who didn't like them, you just lost some money. I'm not going to lose my money. I'm going to enjoy a movie. Now, if a movie is really, really bad, then I would say it's bad and I take that L, I waste my money. But Space Jam, and it was on, was it on HBO Max?
It was on HBO Max.
Yes, I didn't even have to leave the house. Win-win. My homeboy bought tickets for his family, and he had HBO Max at the house. So I said, you better enjoy that movie. You better go and get some good popcorn and make it the best. And I used to teach this, man. I taught video production back in the day, and my students were so critical of movies like this. They would come back, oh, it was sorry. It sucked, Mr. Cobbs. Oh, it sucked so bad. Oh, I can't believe they made that movie. And I was like, why don't you guys like the movie? Because, I'm like, I liked it. Why are you guys so hard on movies? Like, oh, Fantastic Four was trash. And I was like, it was all right. It wasn't terrible. I've seen worse. They're like, oh no, and like, you guys gotta be a little bit less critical, or you're never gonna enjoy yourself in life. It's too much room to be, beating down someone's art. It's art. You ain't gotta like it, but just appreciate the time and effort that went into it. And I appreciate both movies, man. Both superstars put themselves out there as corny. LeBron James saying for the first 15 minutes of the movie. I was like, wait a minute. LeBron said for the last 5 minutes. It was hilarious. We started pointing it out. If he says one more time, and he did So I was like, okay, we were thoroughly entertained by LeBron James and Space Jam as much as we were for Michael Jordan. All right, man, we got out of here. 10:05. My wife's looking at me. My son's looking at me. All right. People forget it's a movie, says Elaine. Silver Surfer was definitely trash. I like Silver Surfer because I like Silver Surfer. I like Silver Surfer, the character. I didn't know the movie was going to be that bad, but I still like the movie because it was Silver Surfer, bad or not.
Yeah.
Now, I'm still mad all the Hulk movies aren't great. I'm a big Hulk fan, and all the Hulk movies aren't great. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for a good Hulk movie to be made.
Better with the Avengers. On his own, those movies were not good at all.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Let's get you out of here before you catch a shoe upside your head.
Yeah, she's going to treat me like Don Cheeto if I don't get out of here real quick. All right, man.
All right. Final words, man. Today, UCLA family got a chance to say final goodbyes to Terry Donahue. Well, one of the final goodbyes. There's going to be another one on September 3rd. It was great to see all my old teammates, as I try to explain to a lot of my players, you'll forget the girl who sat next to you in biology. in period 3. You don't forget your teammates. And just being able to see my teammates and hang out with them and, feel that love, because of what we shared in that locker room and out on the field, it was a beautiful thing. And TD brought it together again, brought us back together, the old and the new. So it was a great time. So, once again, condolences to his family, condolences to UCLA family, his extended UCLA family. We're going to miss a giant at the school. And, once again, it was just great to see everybody.
I'm sorry I missed it. I'm in Vegas with my family. My son's in the tournament, but I know you guys were there representing. And I heard our girl Michelle E said, make sure you make it to the LSU game where we're all supposed to be meeting up, UCLA versus LSU. Put that on your calendar. It's going to be a big one. UCLA's football team, most experienced team we've had in like 20 years. We expect some big things on the horizon for this team. And if Chip Kelly can't give us 8 wins out of this team, then it might be time for Martin Jamon to make that mean phone call.
Yep.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all. Brendan said today was an awesome day. Man, miss going down there and seeing y'all boys, man. But hopefully we can reconnect at some point. It was Brendan, Brian Wilmer, Larry Atkins, Big O.
Yep.
Sack Daddy and Weldon Ford, Skip Hicks. My wife said, "Is that Skip Hicks?" Like, that's Skip Hicks. Big fella.
Mm-hmm.
Big fella. All right, man. Y'all be good. Peace and blessings. We see y'all, man.
Latest.
Peace. Oh.
All right, man. Get out of here.
All right, brother.
Or Joy kill you.
She looking at me.
All right.